Hello, guys. Ready to hear about some donuts? I am. So, I was thinking, I love donuts, but what are donuts? Like, where did they come from? Who invented them? What inspired the invention of a donut? Let us take a look. So, why am I qualified to talk about donuts, you might ask? Well, I consider myself pretty much pro at eating donuts. Some people would consider me the donut king, glizzy gobbler. Oh, thanks to Christian Tedian. So as much as I promote healthy, healthy living and working out, if a donut was offered to me, I can't say I would diminish the opportunity of being granted a donut. Uh, yeah. So who invented the donut? Well, first we should ask, where did they come from? They came from the ancient Greeks who ate small cakes and they would dip them in honey. And stuff like this has been around Europe for centuries, but um, the actual word title donut came from England, but before that, they were considered oily cakes. And the Dutch believed they were the first ones to make the donut, but the Americans also believed they were the first ones to make the donut. So, where did they actually come from? Well, who knows? But what we do know is that this sailor, Hanson Gregory, was an American, and he put in a mix of lemon rind, nutmeg, and cinnamon, and put hazelnuts in the middle. And then his mom happened to be on the ship at the same time he was, and she rolled it into a ball, and then she punched a hole in the middle because she believed that if you punch the hole in the middle, it should cook all the way through. And so the leftover hole that they would get is they would cook that later, and that's where you get your donut hole from. So if you ever wonder like what donut holes are, that's where the donut hole comes from. The first donut machine was invented in 1920, and during around the 1930s, people started trying new things like dunking their donut in coffee and having frosting and sprinkles on their donuts. That's where that all came from. So how how many types of donuts are there? There's a whole bunch. So from the list, there's my personal favorite, if you were to ask me, is maple ice glazed because it's just bomb. And if you're more into a sweeter taste, there's the jelly and cream filled donut. There's the jelly and cream filled donut, which came from Boston. Then, if you don't feel like I guess there's the cake donut, and then if you don't feel like scarfing down an entire donut, there's always the donut holes, which are pretty fire. And then you get the Mexican churro, which is considered the Hispanic donut, and most people prefer those at like Taco John's, and I think those are great. There's the cheesecake donut, the blueberry donut, and then people put together the craziest mixes of donuts, from Hertz donuts that put cereal on their donuts to bacon and all this other stuff. And then you have in China, they put seaweed on their donuts, which is, yeah. Um, so, how in the whole do you make donuts? Uh, there's a bunch of different ingredients, but how to make a shareable, loving, and caring donut? You'll need a mix of milk, eggs, yeast, salt and vanilla extract, and flour. And I know it's a glazy concept, but I think you'll find it enjoyable. So, as you can see, that I hope this was very educational for you, but I am quite the expert at donuts. There are over 10 billion people that eat donuts each year, and they're very impactful. There's different kinds of donuts, and the most donuts actually sold worldwide is Dunkin' Donuts, even though Krispy Kreme has the oldest donut shop that still exists to this day, was being made in 1937. And then there's also 25,000 different donut stores across the US, but for some reason, Dunkin' Donuts is just the most sold worldwide. And then the most famous person to, I guess, the most recorded one was Hanson Gregory to make the first donut. And so with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you guys for listening, and I hope you can see me at the donut shop soon. Yeah.